The first is the evacuation procedure. Is it?
Yeah.
There's an assembly, there's a location plan at the exits and the assembly point situated on the doors of this room. Please familiarise yourself with it. On discovering a fire, please carry out the following: sound the alarm, attack the fire if possible and safe to do so using the appliance provided. On hearing the evacuate signal, please carry out the following: exit the building by your nearest safest exit, which is that one or where you came in. All visitors report to assembly point G in the car park outside and stay there until such time as the officer or fire brigade officer said it's okay to leave. And who's in charge tonight? Mike.
Mr. Brown, he's just hurried in.
Mike is the responsible officer. If we can keep him white long enough. All right, thank you. Right, apologies for absence and members away on official council business. I think we've got a full house apart from Councillor Watson and substitute Councillor Bell. Welcome. Disposable pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. Are there any that need noting? Thank you. Public participation. As far as I'm aware, there's been no questions or anything, so we'll move over that here. Minutes of the meeting of the subcommittee held on the 24th of March 26. Approved as correct record and signed by the chairman. Proposed by Councillor Jackson, seconded by whoever. Any of the others? All those in favour? Thank you. Item 6. I'd like to welcome Philip Second, the Police and Crime Commissioner, to our meeting. Philip is going to do a verbal presentation, and what we'll do is when the whole meeting is complete, we'll have a little bit of an open session of Q&A with Philip. So no questions at this stage, just sit on them, and then when we close the meeting at the end, we will then see what Philip's going to say.
Do I need to use the microphone?
Yeah, just push the middle till the green light comes on.
That better? Is everybody here?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. So, well, good evening. Thank you, Councillor Jarvis and members of this committee for the invitation to come up to North Warwickshire. And I obviously welcome the opportunity to just outline a bit of the work we do at the OPCC in North Warwickshire particularly. So it's really important partnership working between the OPCC, the borough councils, the county council and all the wider partners across the county. So briefly, my role is a strategic oversight and accountability for policing and not operational delivery. I've set the police and crime plan a couple of years ago now, which has priorities based on public consultation. I also have to hold the Chief Constable to account, and you're probably aware we are in the middle of changing Chief Constable at the moment. So I've nominated Emma Bond as my preferred candidate, and you, Mr. Chairman, will be, I think, on the police crime panel, where we have a confirmation hearing, and of course there's an enhanced vetting procedure for Chief Constables as well, which we're going through. So I would think the new Chief Constable would probably start in the autumn, but we don't have any fixed dates at the moment. We also commission services which support prevention and to invest in community safety, work closely with the North Warwickshire Community Safety Partnership to address local priorities. The plan, the police and crime plan I refer to, just has 5 main pillars: strengthening neighbourhood policing and visibility, safeguarding vulnerable people, addressing antisocial behaviour and local crime issues, supporting victims and improving justice outcomes, and the prevention and early intervention through partnership working to reduce crime. So what we're delivering locally across Warwickshire is I've secured significant national funding to create additional neighbourhood policing posts represented by the Safer Neighbourhood teams and other teams that work locally, and of supporting improved visibility, engagement and local problem solving. The Community Safety Partnership, we are giving ongoing support to the partnership across Warwickshire partnerships. We provide dedicated funding to each area, which includes North Warwickshire, so they can deliver local priorities. And we also have additional support through community safety coordination and some analytical capacity. So some of the grants that we've done here in North Warwickshire, you may have heard of some of these, but I'll just give you a flavour. 5,000 for She Kicks Positive Futures, which is about youth engagement in North Warwickshire. Sycamore Counselling Services about anger awareness courses delivered in North Warwickshire and adjoining areas. Cleary's Boxing Project, 7,500 diversionary activity to include Leamington, but there's also delivery here in North Warwickshire. That was this year's funding. Last year we had Pathways to Change, which was to support to reduce reoffending in North Warwickshire and Nuneaton and Bedworth. The Real Rod Squad is about youth engagement and prevention activity in North Warwickshire and other areas. And then I think sitting behind me are two officers from the North Warwickshire Neighbourhood Watch Association, which is direct support for local crime prevention and community safety activity. So I think my key messages for my office are to divert people away from crime, to support young people, and to strengthen community resilience. And we also want to see wider commissioning and partnership work right across the county, both directly and through our community safety partnerships. Recently, we had a good event, Aston Villa Training Ground, where we had young driver engagement to help me in my role as chair of the Warwickshire Road Safety Partnership and indeed the lead PCC for road safety across the country. So we think this supports more consistent and effective handling of local issues, certainly on our roads, but also with ASB processes and working with partners. We've invested recently quite a lot in the police estate to make it modern and visible. We've focused on co-location where we can to use buildings to improve the accessibility and value for money. And the estates programme supports a long-term policing presence in growing communities. And I'm aware all communities right across Warwickshire are growing at some rate. Warwickshire as a police area has been the largest growth in population in the country over the last 10 years. So that, in my view, needs to be reflected in policing numbers and policing response to those communities. I thought I'd talk a little bit about Section 106. A lot of councillors talk to me about 106 agreements. So these come when new housing developments are proposed, and we put in applications to improve policing services. I think it's on developments about over 100 where we can do it. And sadly, policing is not a statutory beneficiary of 106. As health, schools, libraries, and other things are. Policing is not, so we do have to argue our corner, and I'm always grateful for local district and borough councillors in their quest. But of course, core police funding from the central government does not just come with population growth, and actually we are the lowest in the country as a policing area of central grants from the Home Office per head of population, which is disappointing and something I am always talking about on national engaging with national politicians. However, we do get some Section 106, which does help with infrastructure. It has to, from a policing point of view, it has to be necessary, it has to be directly related to the development, and it needs to be proportionate. So we review planning applications regularly, we submit bids on eligible developments, and we find that in North Warwickshire, we've recently secured two. We've got one of 8,500, another one of 15,000, which will use to be fund two operational police vehicles supporting safer neighbourhood teams in Atherstone and Coleshill. And of course, it can also benefit wider policing operations across the area. So the message I would say is that we have a strong partnership with North Warwickshire Borough Council, and the way we achieve good partnership and outcomes is with shared intelligence, joint problem solving, and aligned funding. So to close, Chair, I want to reaffirm our commitment to working with all the boroughs and districts across Warwickshire. I want to recognise the importance of local insight into shaping those priorities. And I want to emphasise that as communities grow, investment in policing and prevention must grow with them. I'll take questions at the end.
Have you got it? Move straight on to agenda item number 7, which is a road safety motion that was put to the full council, which we've got a response from Councillor Warren.
Indeed you have. Okay, so in response to your
Use these.
request. Oh, yeah.
Please.
thank you. In response to your request, obviously I've sent over the answers, so I'll just read the questions out. We've got David Edhill, director here, so any questions of any technical issues, please your man. So if you're happy for me just to read the questions out for the audience,
Yes, please.
rather than go through all the replies, but you've read it. Okay, so the requests were to introduce a 20-mile speed limit outside all schools across Warwickshire as a minimum standard. Question 2, develop and publish a countrywide Vision Zero strategy committing to eliminate deaths and serious injuries on our road. 3, work with the Police and Crime Commissioner to invest in improved safety interventions, including safe pedestrian crossings and segregated cycle lanes. And finally, write to the Police and Crime Commissioner to request investment in average speed cameras and enhanced performance. And we will take questions at the end.
Yeah, the question.
These questions
Oh,
yeah.
can be done.
Okay.
Okay, then.
Thank you, Chair. I was really disappointed in the responses actually because for one, we was asking for a Vision Zero approach. And the response is saying that Warwickshire County Council are trying to get a target of 50% reduction by 2030 and then a 65% reduction by 2035. And that to me is not Vision Zero approach. We should be looking to eliminate all road deaths on our roads. And that should be the approach from the off. And even if you don't hit that target, then at least you're trying your very best to. We should be standing out there and saying, we're Warwickshire County Council, we want to eliminate all road deaths. That response is not good enough. We've currently, in our ward, we've had the strips put down we requested. David Edhill came to our meeting and promised that they would be done. We've only had the 1 strips put down in Axley Common, we asked for 3. And they've only been there for a week and they've already been removed. I'm not happy with that. I'm just trying to see. But yeah, I'm not happy with the Vision Zero approach overall. I'd like that to be looked at, please.
David, would you like to say about these strips, please?
Well, firstly on Vision Zero, it would be like Food Road Safety Partnership. We do subscribe to Vision Zero ambition. What we've done is set an interim target of 50% by 2030, and then we're aligning ourselves with a 65% reduction as a target aligned with the national strategy by 2035. But we do subscribe to Vision Zero as the ambition. We've just set interim targets that we're aiming towards. In terms of the strips, is that the speed strips that were requested? I ordered them. I'll chase up on what's happened to them. I've just been told they're happening, so I'll check what.
We've had 1 set through the whole of Axley Common.
Okay, no, I set all the.
Already, they've been there for 7 days.
Okay, I gave the locations the parish council requested, so I'll chase up on that. Should.
Councillor Osborne?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I mean, I am encouraged that they're introducing the speed limits and 20 miles an hour outside schools. It's a good starting point. Obviously, as Michaela said, we want to get down to a point where it's completely zero, and I fully back that ambition. What my question is, the 20 mile an hour speed limit, Is that enforceable by the police? Was that the enforcing agency that put in by a suggested speed limit? What's the actual clarification on that, please?
On the work we're doing, which is referenced in the response, the advisory 20 mile an hour outside schools are not enforced by the police.
Councillor Hobley?
Thanks, Chair. I refer to point 3.1.4 on page 8 of 32. Just regarding the investment of average speed cameras, I know if you any way you leave the county, you will hit average speed, Solihull, all them sort of areas. Why are we the only county that are not using average speed as a, you can't drive fast at all through Meriden or into Coventry, any sort of way you try to leave the county. Why are we so far behind?
I can answer that one. Well, firstly, we have 4 average speed cameras pilots going on at the moment. They are expensive. And actually, the way we fund road safety is through surplus on speed awareness courses. Actually, people in average speed cameras do not speed. So they're very expensive. And there's not a lot of income coming back. And I know the West Midlands, who have a lot of them, they're making a loss on them. Now we can't afford that in Warwickshire. We need to put as much money as we can into road safety projects. I personally am a supporter of average speed cameras. If you'd like to deliver us some money from North Warwickshire, I'm sure we can arrange some to go in. But it is they are expensive. They need to be maintained. They need to be monitored. And in practice, they don't produce many fines, which would fund other road safety measures.
If I could just comment on that. Isn't that showing that they're effective? For collecting work fines. Is that showing that they're effective?
They are effective. And
It's effective because they're collecting no fines.
so where do we get the money from to pay for them? There's not a lot of money around in road safety. So we have to make sure that the ones we have got, these are pilots. I think they're still being studied. And we're going to get some evaluation of them. And then I would hope very much to roll out more.
And if you go into Coventry area, you can't turn a corner without seeing a pair of cameras, which I would say, I understand and respect what they're saying,
Yeah.
but isn't the fact that they're collecting nothing showing that they're actually doing their job in stopping the speeding? And if that's the case, that's, to me, is a very good case for having them.
There is a very good case for them. I would like more, but we don't have the funding to provide them. That's the problem.
Councillor Bell?
I was going to put up my hand anyway, because I've got a question, but you take my breath away with that response. I'm sorry. Can we keep the eye on the prize, please? The prize is, can we stop killed and seriously injured on our roads? And if average speed cameras work, find the funding, for goodness sake. What you're saying is we want people to speed because it gives us money. What? I'm sorry, but well, I'm going to leave it there because I'm absolutely gobsmacked. Anyway, I'll go on to what I was going to say. One of the reasons behind this motion, which you responded to, is because, and I have been saying this for years and nothing's happened. When you look at the KSI figures for North Warwickshire, they are out of kilter with Warwickshire. They are out of kilter with the national figures. I was very interested to hear, Philip, that you are the lead on road safety for PCC, so that should be helpful. We have got a disproportionate number of dangerous junctions in North Warwickshire, and nothing has happened. And I was county council for 8 years and nothing happened, and it's still not happening. So what are the plans to sort out the junctions, first of all? Secondly, have we identified the roads that are particularly dangerous to give these killed and seriously injured? And I know it's not the motorways, it's our small roads that people speed on. That's speeding. What's the plan, please, to sort out North Warwickshire's road safety problems?
So as you know from time of county council, the road safety budget at the county council is fairly limited. It's annually £300,000 a year put aside for road safety measures, and we prioritise that investment funding into locations that have the highest number of killed and seriously injured collisions. So obviously we identify the cluster points where the most accidents happen and the most serious accidents happen, and absolutely we recognise that North Warwickshire has a high proportion of those. Absolutely, a lot of those happen on rural roads where people speed, and we need to undertake measures where we can understand what's caused of that, what engineering measures can be taken to address that and try and reduce that pressure, and take a safe systems approach to try and reduce those accidents going forward. I'm pleased to say, like I said, we have an annual budget of 300,000. Through our latest consolidated transport settlement, the ambition and the proposal that's going to our cabinet is to increase road safety spending from 300,000 to £3 million a year. So we'll have a significant increase in the funding that we'll have available to us to do road safety measures. And again, it will be prioritised towards the areas where the data tells us that we have the lowest cluster points of killed and injured. So over the next 5-year period, hopefully we'll have significant more resources to invest in those measures, alongside the advisory 20s we've mentioned.
Right, we both just on that. That's really good news. That's fantastic. In anticipation of that funding coming through, if there's a plan of what you're going to do with the money when it comes through, it would be really helpful for us to know how it did now, please, because we have been waiting a while. So thank you very much.
Councillor Hobley.
Thanks, Chair. Sorry, just to come back. Thank you for your response. And it's interesting that we spend 50 pence per person per year, according to the ONS stats of how many people live in Warwickshire. Just about the pilots that are going ahead, where are the pilots currently? Are there any in the north of the county?
There's one at Bassett's Pole. I think that's in North Warwickshire. Up by the Belfry. Yeah, there's one there. There's one at Studley. There's one on whatever it was. There's one near Rugby, I think.
The 426 is the Rugby.
One at Rugby. And I think there's one around the Kenilworth area, but don't quote me on that.
We can get the
I can let you know where they are. Certainly one in at Bassett's Pole, which is relevant to you.
You let us know and put it into the minutes for the next
Yes.
next meeting. Councillor Humphries.
I'm just going to add to that if it's possible, Commissioner, because I was a councillor for 4 years and I've not been a councillor for 2 years. So sometime about 4 years ago, that I was party to putting those trials in. When does the trial go live rather than remain a trial? Because until the trial is completed, you can't expand. Whereas if you go to Oxford, you can't go in any village in Oxford without doing a 20 mile an hour or get done by a camera. So some councils have a much higher need to bring this in. I just wonder how much we have to wait.
I get the question. There's a considerable investment going in at the moment to the static speed cameras. They are being upgraded with better, if you like, longer reading periods. There's also one of the problems with getting the pilots up and running has been the question of getting mains electricity to them. There's evidence in other parts of the country where they've been using solar power, where disgruntled drivers have broken the solar panels and things. So it's got to be done, I think, on mains electricity, and they have taken time. I'm not exactly sure how the evaluations are going. David might be able to say.
Yeah, the ambition is to complete the evaluation by end of September this year. So we will be undertaking. We're starting that evaluation. It has been challenging because not all the sites have been operational all the time. So we haven't had that clear run. But we now think we've got enough data to do the evaluation to understand what the sort of near-term impacts have been.
Thank you.
It's interesting to hear you say about powering them.
Yeah.
They're all powered off streetlights. And the county council are responsible for streetlights. And I know around this area where we've looked for putting cameras onto street furniture, the county council are the ones that actually supply the power or supply the sockets on the street furniture.
I mean, National Grid we've been pushing them to speed up the laying on of the electricity. They don't all come off streetlights. They're separate things, aren't they?
Yeah, that has been one of the challenges for what we had. Initially, that was our assumption. We could power all the average speed cameras off our street lighting system. We couldn't. We didn't have the necessary power and the whatever it is. But you need. It was deemed not to be powerful enough, so we had to put in new lines, and that's what caused a lot of the delay and a lot of the additional costs. That we had to put additional power in. So sometimes it's possible to run off depending on the type and nature of the street light, but more often than not, it's not sufficient to power average speed camera.
Councillor Bell?
Sorry, there's one more thing on the average speed cameras. Has there been an analysis done of, so at the moment we do quite a lot of road engineering to try and slow people down, and as a county councillor I did lots of that, and thank you very much for some of the work you've done. If we didn't have to do that and did average speed cameras instead, how does that work out on a financial basis? That'd be really interesting to know if we didn't have to do quite so much engineering on the roads, because people do slow down with average speed cameras.
Now, on the current policy on speed limits is that the environment should be self-enforcing. So as much as possible, the environment that the motorist sees should tell them what the speed should be. And that's why we often take engineering measures to enable us to bring that speed limit down to changing the environment. Now, I get the point. Yeah, if we didn't do that, we just changed the speed limits and put an average speed camera. Technically, we would be enforcing and we would drive that speed down. Whether there's a fairness issue around there. Is the road still acting in the right way to give the right signal for drivers? And there have been criticisms in the past, haven't there, about static cameras being put in locations just to catch drivers out. And there's a fear that if you don't do the engineering measures to make it look like that's the speed you should be driving, then just changing the speed limit may not be sufficient, particularly in the safe systems model. What we're trying to do is just change all those behaviours and make sure that drivers are understanding what the issues are and dealing with it, but pedestrians and other road users understand what's going on in that environment. The cars are structured and the roads are structured. But I get your point, but there's a sort of a middling point now, I think.
Can I just try and
a very cynical response to that.
We have signs.
Sorry?
We have signs, don't we, Chair?
The idea of putting the cameras, like you say with the average speed cameras, people see them and they're enforced. You know, to say that you need to do the environment first and then the others works afterwards seems a bit, cart before the horse. That you see a speed camera, it's, yellow boxes, whatever they are, or the two stuck up on a lamppost or other furniture. That's a natural thing in there says, hang on, slow down. That means, I'll exceed that. That means points on my license. So the visibility of those cameras being in, without doing, chicanes or whatever engineering on the roads, just the visibility of seeing a camera. Surely that is something that that registers in all reasonable drivers.
But the number of cameras have been increased. We've also just spent, I think, about 200,000 on 3 really modern speed vans. I'm sure you've seen those around North Warwickshire. Average speed cameras are really important, but there are other ways to slow people down. And my ambition would be to put more average speed cameras in, providing we get a tick in the box from the evaluation on the 4 pilots. So I don't think we're saying no more. But I do know that the West Midlands lose a lot of money on there, which is taking away other road safety financing because they've got all the.
So another question to that then is: you say you're waiting for a tick in the box. When's that tick in the box coming? Is it imminent, or are we looking at somewhere in the?
We've just had the end of September.
That's when that tick in the box should be there.
Yep, and then we'll go to the the road safety partnership, and it'll also be taken to our community zoning scrutiny committee in November.
Whatever it is.
Councillor Rury,
Thanks, Chair.
Councillor Phillips, then was it you, McGrath? Yeah.
Just a couple of questions.
be interested in the cost to policing for accidents. So I know you don't like the speed cameras because they don't bring in enough income. That it's difficult for us to judge that because we don't know how much it actually costs policing to go out to these accidents, but also the on costs of the fire, ambulance, etc. So it'd be interesting to know how much it actually costs, for an accident. And other questions as well. So going back to Vision Zero, so you talked about the interim target, but I can't actually see a target for zero. Has that just been missed out or?
There's an ambition, and then there's the interim target of 50% by 2030.
If there's an ambition, if you have a date for which target is, at the moment, it doesn't look like that is an ambition.
I mean,
You don't have it
in my
check,
view,
then you have a final sort of target.
everybody wants to reduce road collisions down to zero. But I think that's a given. What we've tried to do is put in a realistic, attainable target, which doesn't have any unintended consequences, which we here in Warwickshire think we can hit. But the last bank holiday weekend, 4 people killed on Warwickshire's roads. This is not easy work, but the targets are there to try and get everybody to work towards them. But I can assure you, Vision Zero is absolutely on the table, but it's not attainable within the foreseeable future.
Owen, and then Gayla, and then we'll call it to
Yeah, thank you, Chair. We did cover 21-hour zones. Why? Just getting a question. Why aren't 21-hour zones enforceable by the police?
21 hour zones are enforceable.
Well,
If you do the effective change, what we're putting in is advisory 20 mile an hour. A, because they're quicker. B, because they're much more cheaper to do. So we can do it across all schools in Warwickshire. If we were to, what you need to do is change the traffic regulation order, the underpinning legislative power that sits on the road that enables us to enforce. If we did those changes, then we wouldn't be able to do 20 mile an hour outside all the schools. It would take longer and we wouldn't be able to afford to do all the schools.
what do you mean enforce? You have a policeman with speaker.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So the only thing that seems to be hitting anything here is cars into the people that we're supposed to represent. You can't even just say we'll have an ambition to get to zero. It's bonkers. It's too cheap to put cameras in, too expensive to put cameras in, it's too expensive to put speed cameras in, it's too expensive to put average cameras in, it's too expensive to even change the sign. So what are we bringing to the table today other than just listen to our complaints?
I mean, public funding is difficult at the moment. We are making.
Sorry. What are you bringing other than listening to our complaints and promising?
Well, I think it'd be wrong of me to promise you that we could put significant sums into road safety. The police are making redundancies at the moment. This is a set of priorities. I can assure you that road safety is very high on the priorities, and other areas are having to suffer. Funding is difficult at the moment. We can't keep charging people more council tax, for example. There is another side to this argument. There are also I get a lot of complaints and letters saying there are far too many speeding restrictions around and everything. To which I answer, tough. We're there to slow traffic down. So this isn't a clean, if you like, everybody doesn't agree with what is the right thing to do. So we are doing as much as we can. The enforcement is done by the police, the engineering works are done by the Highway Authority, and there's a lot more going into education for young drivers. And young drivers is the reason I'm doing the national job. My cousin's daughter was killed on Warwickshire's roads aged 15 by a speeding driver who had passed his test 5 weeks beforehand. Now that is outrageous. So we're doing a lot to protect young drivers. They actually represent 5% of drivers and 25% of the collisions and deaths and fatalities on Warwickshire's roads. That is a horrific statistic. I can assure you that we're doing everything that we can within the available funding to reduce speeding on Warwickshire's roads. And I understand, you know, the community's concerns, but let's work together to do it.
Councillor Jackson, have you got a different question or are we?
I know, thank you, Chair. I know we're kind of going around in circles here, but I'm just getting so frustrated. You know, it's been 7 years this year by the time, by November comes that my son was tragically killed on our roads. And I know more than anybody what each death does to any family and community. 4 on bank holiday weekend. And I know you're saying that the cost of putting average speed cameras is way too high because you're not going to generate any money. But actually the economic cost for a serious injury collision is 325,000. That is more than what you're saying you get to spend on an annual basis for the whole of Warwickshire. I don't see you doing very much in North Warwickshire at all. You know, everywhere you go in North Warwickshire, hardly anything is being done. Yet you go across our borders and everywhere else is getting much more road safety initiatives. And surely, if the average speed cameras are going to mean that you need to spend less on infrastructure, so the serious things that you need to start looking at more for the average speed
I
cameras.
mean, you're talking incentive, I get that. And there's a cost to the health service, there's a cost to the fire and rescue, there's a cost to the ambulance part of the health service. It's insurance companies pay out huge sums, particularly if someone is seriously injured. So it's a problem that is, you know, we are trying to address it. And we are making some progress. Fatalities in Warwickshire have dropped, but not by enough. But I can't control every single driver. We do actually talk to a lot of victims, particularly people like your family who have lost a loved one. And it is we have a duty to reduce deaths on our roads. And we are doing. Maybe we're not doing everything we would like to do. We're doing everything it's possible.
Yeah. Another thing is, I don't want to keep bringing it back to my ward, but in answer comment, we had Richard Fenwick come out and he followed through all the recommendations, said that he completely agrees with the recommendations that we would like to see on our roads, but he's got no money in the pot to do anything at all. And I don't think that is a fair, you know, we're going to have the 20 miles per hour by the school, that's great, but what else? When I've got old ladies that can't cross my roads, you know, I've got children that are literally trying to get to school and it's not safe. But yeah, I'm just not happy at all.
We've been around this sort of several times now, and thank everybody for their comments. And I think there's been a lot of useful things that's actually been tabled. And the recommendation was for members to note and comment on the response. Really happy to move by Councillor Hobley, seconded by Councillor Jackson. All those in favour? Just go slightly out. See one of our neighbourhood watch coordinators would like to say something.
I just wanted to say that some good work is done across the county with community speed watches, and I know that Philip sort of tries to sort of encourage communities right across Warwickshire to do it. I know within our village we've got sort of sites that are being reviewed at the moment, but we're looking places like sort of Warton that have a very good community sort of speed watch. They have lots of sort of volunteers. It isn't expensive to actually get people up and running, and if we could get councillors in each ward to encourage people within their community to actually run community speed watches, that in itself can make a difference. And we see, I've done sort of speed watches in Warton, and they are sort of very effective at getting people to slow down.
So can I just come on?
I think can I just say on that, the community speed watch, yes, and Becky has one of her officers that spends a lot of his time on that. And that I'm sure that if anybody, as we know, we've all got our council's funds, that if we can fund cameras for the officers, I think Becky's office is probably the door to go knocking on.
Yeah, the person who usually does the speedwalk training is off.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so
Sorry, I was just going to come on that because we've been waiting 2 years for our gun to be collaborated. We were told that we could purchase a gun that could be used on our, and we're still waiting for a response
Very
to
sure.
purchase the gun.
I might pass this back because don't need cameras.
can I just
The-
ask
the
now
new-
that you contact contact Becky directly? If
The
you-
ones that parish councils can purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're waiting to buy one. That's we've been.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
I
that's
definitely did inquire about that recently. I didn't think I thought I should match that. Maybe someone else didn't like it. Don't need cameras. But feel free to get in touch.
Yeah, that's
That's it.
Okay. Very, very quickly.
I just wanted to say, I didn't get your name, sorry. I completely agree with the community speed watch. Councillor Jackson, we have had our gun taken off us. But it's been nearly 4 years since we've had it taken for recalibration. And they were just said you need to buy a new one. It's fantastic and it's a great way to get people together. It's really brought our communities together. However, Councillor Clues will shoot me if I don't mention in her absence, there are some areas that have got real issues with speeding where it is too dangerous to do a community speed watch. And that's a frustration in a lot of areas. And Denise in particular mentions it sort of every time it comes up. And it's Ridge Lane. It's while I agree community speed watch are brilliant, I know you do a fantastic job as well. I've seen your t-shirts and everything. It's really brilliant what you do. But I would like our gun back if you could sort that out. And
Email me.
yes. And B, there are just some roads that are too dangerous to do a speed watch on, and that in itself is shocking, isn't it?
Okay. Right, thank you. Right, we'll move on to agenda item number 8. The recommendation to the Safer Subcommittee is that at the full council there was funding there for 3 pump tracks. One in Kingsbury, one in Coleshill, and the third one between Curdworth and Philongley. Having looked at the facilities in both of those areas, personally, I think Philongley is probably the better location for it. So it's open.
Thank you, Chair. Just looking at the areas where are proposed for the pump tracks to go, I think the pump tracks are definitely desperately needed in areas and they're a great addition. Harley's Jumps is enjoyed and loved by local children and non-local children that come from all over. Not only does it keep the children occupied and off the roads, but it helps to reduce antisocial behaviour. My overall vision is that most areas will get a pump track over the years. However, I know due to the cost that is not feasible. Therefore, priority must be given to the areas that would benefit the most with a pump track being installed. Whilst I recognise that the decisions around the proposed pump track locations are being informed by the safety data and collision statistics, I believe that greater scrutiny needs to be needed when determining where the final 3 sites are installed. In particular, the analysis should go beyond the overall collision numbers and examine the types and context of the incidents involved. For example, in areas such as Philongley, a significant number of the accidents will be car on car because of the Philongley crossroads issues, which raises questions about whether a pump track would meaningfully address those specific issues. I would also suggest that priority should be given to locations where there are clearer evidence to risk of pedestrians and cyclists, as well as a consideration of patterns of antisocial behaviour and the local demographics to ensure that the facilities are best placed where they have the greatest positive impact on community and safety and well-being. So I think we need to look at overall, if each area, it needs to be scrutinised more.
Yeah, I understand that. Councillor Osborne?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think you make a good point, Michaela, to be honest. Looking at the figures, you can't actually extract from the figures what those accidents are. And it's great. I do welcome the pump tracks because they're great for dealing with antisocial behaviour. They're great for exercise, getting people away from the roads, and that obviously is to be commended. But I think we're in danger of just conflating accidents that could be car on car, are car on car, with stopping pedestrian accidents. Therefore, it should have a pump track. So I think we need to get our priorities of what we're actually judging the criteria on for the locations. That would be my best advice.
I think if you look at the some of them, obviously that work, as I'm looking at Becky, but that work has already been done to look at the most effective ones. Would you like to say anything, Becky?
Yeah, through you, Chair. So the plan is to collate comments and then take it to Community Environment Board in terms of a decision of where we put the pump tracks. So 100% agree with the comments, and I think that would be a really interesting analysis about the car on car or car versus person. So we'll absolutely do that, and the plan is to, because of time frames and getting the pump tracks and facilities built in time, is to get it to the next meeting of Council House. Community Environment Board.
Looking at any more comments? Right. Looking at the recommendation, I'm happy to propose that recommendation that it goes for Kingsbury, Coleshill and Philonglees. Is anybody that'd like to second that?
I think it needs to be scrutinised.
I'll put that as an amendment then, please.
Yeah.
Which is an amendment. Councillor Jackson, then Councillor Osborne.
Thank you. I'd like to make an amendment to the proposal that it's scrutinised more before a decision is fully made. So I think the 3 areas need to be scrutinised and looked at to make sure that the pump tracks are going in the right areas, because I don't know enough about Curdworth, but what I do know is that there's a lot of elderly that live in Curdworth, and is there enough children there that are going to enjoy a pump track? For Longley Crossroads, if there's lots of children that is going to be encouraged to come from the area, it's not safe to get there on their bikes. That sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'd like to second the amendment. The motion's worded that we are supportive as a group of pump tracks and the expansion of the pump tracks, but we're going to look about other evidence of why they should go where they go. I know it's a little bit of additional work, but I think it's worth doing the work to get them in the right locations for the right reasons. If it does end up that they go where you're suggesting tonight, then that's great. But we'll have a body of evidence that supports them.
I've got well, my proposal fell because it wasn't seconded, but we've got an amendment that's been seconded. Any further amendments?
Chair, Flappers back there, go to the shadow chair and yourself for final. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. So just
move it.
Yeah.
Councillor.
Can the analysis include other areas as well, not just
well, that's what Becky's saying. You look at all areas.
Compare with the other areas.
Councillor Bell.
Quite happy with the amendment. But it's a proposal from this group, not a decision on where it goes is not from this group.
No, absolutely.
So I just wanted to make it clear.
Yes.
I wasn't sure what council feels.
So the amended proposal is that we do some further scrutiny on where are the best locations, and then feed it back to myself and the shadow chair. Okay, is everybody happy with that?
Sorry, Kevin, what proposal goes back to you?
The amendment is to do a study of where the three
But
best
Chair, the
locations are.
study will have to go, as Becky said, in order to keep the timetable going, we need a paper C&E board.
Yeah,
And more
okay.
than happy to the scrutiny board, that will have to go to the next C&E board. So
Okay.
it doesn't go back to you.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah. Councillor Riri, and we'll have the vote.
Just ask why there is a deadline of the next CND board, because CND boards are next month, aren't they?
No, not everyone. We've got it in the budget. I think it's 2 this year, 1 next year. It takes a while. We've got to get the location, we're already in June. So our next senior board is whenever, sorry. July. So we need to get going on this, otherwise we're not going to get the 2 in that's in the budget this year. So that's why. So, we don't want to delay, we want to get these things out there.
Okay, we will very quickly then go to the vote.
It's not about the rush though, it's about getting where we want them though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so surely that's the important thing, isn't it? So if we're just rubber stamping them to go to those villages, then that's
I think there is also a time frame in it that, in the winter years.
well, yeah,
stop.
that's how we end up where we are with the local plan, but we don't want to do it with the pump tracks too.
Okay, we've got the amended proposal seconded. All those in favour of the amendment? Okay, anyone against? Appears to be unanimous, thank you. Recommendations, members to endorse the progress made in relation to the coordination and distribution of grab bags in North Warwickshire. Over to Sarah.
Oh, Chair, I'll cover this one first.
Oh, yeah.
So Sarah, that's it's the first day, it's the first. Let's put her off for life.
Chair recommends she does an easy walk, so oh dear.
Let's do it.
So the report outlines a proposal that was tabled at the Health and Wellbeing Working Party, being funded by the Health and Wellbeing Working Party. It comes under your priority that you set at your last meeting around safety of women and girls. And grab bags are essentially bags of essentials that are there for domestic abuse survivors when they're fleeing a situation. Now we understand that there may be some teething around what we include in the bags and what's suitable for everyone. But Sarah and team made a really good start in terms of progress. So this is about coming to you as this is something else in your pocket to have around safety women and girls. Are you happy to endorse where we've got to and happy to take comments to move forward?
If we just make one comment with them, support it absolutely wholeheartedly. It's something that's needed. The one thing that sticks in my mind is the bag, £20 for each one. If you look at the adult one, that's 1/3 of the total cost. If you look at the young person one, it's 2/3 of the total cost. And you look at the bottom one, it's nearly half of the total cost. And the bags at £20 each. That just seems very, very expensive. Where, a normal Hessian bag from Tesco or wherever, you can get them for a couple of quid at the most. Whereas, sorry?
Just give them a bin bag.
Exactly. Why spend 20 quid on a bag?
It wasn't a suggestion.
I mean, I actually said it out earlier on. Go and get some 10p bags from Tesco. If you carry all the stuff in that.
It's not that kind of bag, right?
It's
Not that kind of bag.
goes
What about feminine essentials here? You're not going to put them in a shopping bag.
No, now it's Sarah's go.
My go. So it's about portability. A Hessian bag isn't going to be good enough for someone that is fleeing, and we've got to get all of these items that are in there. So it's going to be a grab bag that is suitable to fit all of these things in. It's not going to be a shopping bag that's 5p from Tesco, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's about the space and how easy it is to manoeuvre around.
Okay. Councillor Hobley.
Thanks, Chair, and welcome, Sarah. I just wanted to thank Sandra for all her work on this. as a member of the Health and Wellbeing Working Party, she's got behind every single suggestion that's ever come up to protect the women in North Warwickshire who are fleeing these relationships. I don't know when the last time Councillor Jarvis bought a bag, however, they're now 40p in Tesco.
Oh, sorry.
And an actual bag to carry feminine products and phone chargers. The bags for life may not withstand the amount of weight. Even a sort of cabin bag to go on holiday, you're looking at sort of £30 on Amazon for a relatively cheap one. So I think we've done well there with the pricing. But just to put on record Sandra's hard work, it's been a main priority for this council to reduce violence against women and girls in this period of council. And all the women across the board and the male councillors have backed us so much, and the hard work is only gonna make people like me stand up in a chamber and be a councillor fighting for these women because of things like this. The main thing that women say to me, and what I have said as someone who's fled domestic abuse and sat in this chamber begging for housing, is if I knew how easy it was to go, I would have gone sooner. That message is loud and clear to everyone in this chamber, and we need to congratulate ourselves on the hard work that has been done to protect these women. So welcome. It's a big priority for a lot of us, and a lot of us are very, very passionate about it, along with road safety, as you can tell. But Sandra, the work you've done has been absolutely amazing. No, Sandra.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Sandra. She's going, it's Sarah.
Can I take Sandra next?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Sandra.
Yeah, thanks for the comments. Can I just pass all the congratulations over to the team, because I really didn't do anything other than sit there and say, yes, it's a good idea and we'll go for it. So really Becky and the team and Sarah are on board as well. So we look forward to seeing it actually come to fruition.
Owen, then Michael.
So it's great just to be able to say, yes, let's do it. And then one of the questions is, where do we put them and how do we access them? What's the next step? That's a great idea. Why do we point people in that direction?
This is flow chart. If you look on the thing.
Oh, well, that means, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, there's actually a flow chart.
Okay.
Which take it Sarah's produced, I think.
Yes, through you, Chair. There is a flowchart in there. Obviously, it's a draft and it's overworkable. I have been contacting various locations. The police, I spoke to Becky. Doctor's surgeries, I'm looking at a pilot at Doctors in Aston. After our last meeting, I've got in a discussion, even with regards to the pets for people that are fleeing as well, to look at that avenue. So there are plenty of different locations that we're looking at and still trying to get on board as well.
Just for you, also, just so all of us users, we'll put posters up wherever you want them as well. So print them off, leave them in the rooms, and we'll stick them wherever we think we need to go, and leave them in pubs and bars, like put them in the ladies' toilets and stuff.
Yeah, that's appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Michael?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Every now and again in this chamber, despite all the agreements and disagreements we get on different topics, you get one thing that comes through. I think this is one of them, that every single person in the chamber really wants to support. It's a great initiative. I think it's only going to get better. It's a fledgling initiative, so it's open to improvement. There probably will be teething problems along the way. I couldn't support it enough, to be honest. And the fact that we've got this happening in North Warwickshire is something really to be proud of as a legacy, that we've started this for the women and girls of North Warwickshire.
From Chair, I'd like to move the recommendation that we comment on and endorse the progress. Seconded by Councillor Hopley. All those in favour of? Anyone against? Any abstentions? Sorry, I didn't see it. I didn't be on. Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you.
Right, I was just looking while you were talking on the internet, grab bags and Radley do a nice one at 250. TK Maxx do them at 100 and they're supposed to be cheap.
There you are.
And for you,
Those
you think that's
going to buy some, so just send the invoice to Gary, he'll pay it. This one is yours, isn't it, Becky?
Yes, Chair, so this report just introduces the updated partnership plan for the community safety partnership. It's been tabled at the CSP, so it's just a note for this reading. And also just a reminder of your priorities that you set at your last meeting. So that was safety of women and girls, school parking, dangerous and obstructed parking, and knife crime in young people. And Chris, who is our community safety consultant, he sat behind me. She is busy working away at a delivery plan for internal and external partners, so you can kind of give a better overview and scrutiny about what our partners are doing and delivering in North Yorkshire.
I'm just going to ask again about the knife crime delivery for the VR headsets anywhere. Has any actually happened now, or are we still not delivering that at the moment?
Through your chair, Councillor Jackson, I'd love to sit here and say that we're going to get VR in all of our schools. I think from what I've been told that they're no longer having the licence at county. However, I would say I'll introduce Chris behind me and she'll be able to tell you about one of the programmes around knife crime that we're looking to introduce through our serious violence funding.
Hi, I'm Chris Hedward. Hello, thank you for having me. Just a quick sort of note about the serious violence initiative that was for funding obtainable through Home Office. There's a small amount of funding, 15,000, that became available, but we had to conform with the Youth Endowment Fund. So we had to make sure that all criteria fitted within that, as funding was now going to be targeted at medium to high impact, rather than before where programmes of a low impact were nice to have and sort of soft approach were passed. It was a little bit of a hot potato, and Becky and I worked on it to push things through, and I've used a toolkit, and we've actually obtained a high impact bid, which means that basically we are secured the funding. That funding is for a charity organisation called No Knife Crime. They particularly target secondary school children. They do whole years at a time. We ask the school to dedicate a day. So that's years 7, 8 and 9 we put on our target this year. That will be a whole day approach. They do an education, and it's basically called Rewrite the Story. So they take all those groups of children through a story of what would you do instead of. So it's very interactive. It really does hit home. I have worked with this charity personally in work in Rochdale, which has a very serious knife problem, and also Greater Manchester. I've worked with Greater Manchester Police on delivering this programme. So we did get a bit of a discounted rate, I'll let you know. And what it's meant is that we can deliver to every single secondary school in the borough. It is delivered for years 7, 8 and 9. They do a teacher training within that, and on completion of the training, each school will be presented with a bleed kit. So I don't know whether you're aware of what bleed kits are, but the children will have the education and the knowledge to actually use a bleed kit, but also be aware of the consequences of being involved with knife crime. So it's a really good initiative. In addition to that, the actual children who participate get the chance to record in a recording. They bring a portable recording studio to, whether they want to write some poetry about that, or have a rap or a story, or what their impressions are, and that can be retained by the school to be used as we go on. So it's very good value for money per head, and North Warwickshire will be I think literally the first borough council that will deliver to years 7, 8 and 9 across the borough. So that is an awful lot of children and we should hit our target.
Okay.
Thank you. Michael?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just to let everybody know, I suppose probably everybody does know here that it's Antisocial Behaviour Awareness Week across the country. So I'm just looking at the plan that we've got and what sort of impetus have we got to deal with the antisocial behaviour part of the plan and the delivery plan. I know the police updated their safe and neighbourhood teams with hotspot patrols and obviously working together with the council and the CCTV. So I know that's something that already does work well. And I just wondered how we were sort of adding to that success that North Warwickshire Borough Council's already part of.
Is that more Sharon's domain?
Well, I'm happy to answer at the moment, but that's definitely one of the areas we need to look at from a resource point of view. Because at the moment, there is some crossover because ASB usually mentions things like noise. My team deal with noise, but we know that we do need to address the issue. We need to deal with ASB at this level before it escalates. But then we need to look at resource to do that. So that's something that I'm going to be looking at.
Sharon? Right, one thing that I've been looking at over the last 2 or 3 weeks with colleagues from the Neighbourhood Watch is on the safety of women and girls, of where you've got somebody walking down a main street and they feel threatened effectively, that these small cards, which they are RIFD cards, have got on the back, and I'll read it to you. It says, I am trying to be discreet as possible. I am in an uncomfortable situation and I need assistance. Please help me get somewhere safe. My emergency contact details are. Now, looking at the
Not in a recorded meeting.
Yeah.
Is this recorded?
Yeah.
We don't want people to know they exist.
well, I want.
You only want some people to know.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to meet with the police to move this forward. I think it's something that we can look. If anybody outside the meeting wishes to see these, and I'm sure Tony can sort of back that up. Okay, one down.
Okay, I'll get where you were going.
Yeah. Any further comments? The recommendation is that we note the updated partnership plan. All those in favour of? Anyone against? It's unanimous, thank you. Jim, you're on some here, don't you? Which is the funding updates. Becky.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So, Chris has covered off your serious violence funding and the project that's outlined in this report. It also gives you the journey about where your Safer Community Subcommittee budget has gone. So the things that you agreed in your last meeting, and you have one request to consider today, which is from our housing team to request funding to purchase additional Ring doorbells to support vulnerable residents. They're asking for £2,000. This is around that feeling of safety when there's been issues. They do it. They've been very limited. They don't have the budget, which is why they're coming to this subcommittee for funding. They found that they have a lot of positive feedback when people have had these. It makes them feel a lot safer.
If I can just go in on that, I've been doing some research on that, and one of the police ones, and it wasn't this force, it was another force elsewhere, was not particularly in favour of the Ring doorbells, because there's one or two things. Somebody approaches your door, that put a sticky tape over the camera, and that's it, it kills it. Or the other one, they smack it with a hammer, and that's the end of it. What that force was suggesting was that there's a similar thing, but it goes inside the windows. And one of the other downside with the Ring is you need a subscription to get the footage. With the ones that stick on the inside of the window, they record to an SD card and they can't be tampered with from outside. Could I just ask our colleagues from Neighbourhood Watch, because I know they've also dealt with these sort of cameras.
They're all sort of doorbells that are available from Solon, which you can actually sort of use. It's got a built-in SD card, and you don't have to have a subscription for them. And also, if you've got anybody that doesn't have Wi-Fi, then you can actually set up the doorbell on somebody else's sort of Wi-Fi, and then you can install the doorbell. And then all they have to sort of make sure that they do is sort of keep recharging the sort of battery when it's needed, and all the footage goes on to the actual SD card that's built sort of in.
And that is that's inside the property, is it? Or
No, it goes on the outside.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. There is another device on the market which is like a freestanding GoPro that you can mount inside the property. It is similar to a GoPro from memory. You can get them online quite easily. I don't know the brand of them. I don't know. We haven't actually got any we've used. We use a Solon door cams. But there is one you can put inside the property, almost like a GoPro.
Yeah.
And it can't be tampered with from outside.
There's lots of there's lots of small, inexpensive sort of wireless sort of cameras that you can put within the sort of property. I was talking to somebody from West Midlands Police about a year ago, and they had sort of somebody that was actually able to get good footage, which resulted in sort of arrest really. So you can sort of reduce the sort of cost by just you might possibly be spending sort of 20 or 30 sort of pound on something sort of like that.
I think everybody supports the principle of it anyway, but as I say, I think there's maybe a little bit more investigation. Is there something better that we could do, and take out the cost side of it? But is there something that we could do that is better than the Ring? Because as I say, if you've got a Ring doorbell, is it £6.99 a month now for the subscription or something like that? And are the people where these would be tested for, would they be subscribing to it? Whereas the others, they just record on an SD card, which is available to, the police or whoever need the things. Councillor Hobley?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Well, then
I was about to say, to just amend it, to make it easy for everybody. Could we just amend that we say the money's there to purchase the most appropriate unit?
Yeah.
That should have said that, yeah.
I mean, that would have been my suggestion.
Yeah,
anyway.
and then
that we need to do a little bit more investigation of what the best process is. That the money's there, but we spend it wisely. Councillor Osborne? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, it says additional Ring doorbells. Sorry, thanks, Chair. Becky, I don't know if this is your question. Are we already providing Ring doorbells? Is that why we're saying Ring?
Yeah, so not through you, Chair, sorry. So not everyone would get a Ring doorbell, but they have been able to support some with Ring doorbells. I mean, Councillor John's right, we had a conversation and I think happy where to look at alternatives where it's appropriate. So if they live in an upstairs flat, it might be more appropriate to have a Ring than it would be to have a camera. So I think Housing would be happy with the funding that they could do and out of, depending on the most appropriate solution.
Just look for the best and most appropriate.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you look at it, very simplistic. Everybody has either got a window in their porch or a front window, and if there was a standalone camera that's just recording on an SD card in the front window, it would see exactly what a Ring doorbell sees, but it is protected in the fact that it's not exposed outside for abuse. And also, as I say, I would guess that a lot of these people that would need this sort of camera probably wouldn't invest in the the subscription to get the appropriate recordings. Councillor Hopkins?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think ring doorbells become a bit of a generic term like hoovers,
Yeah.
the vacuum cleaners. So I'm not sure when people say ring doorbell, sometimes they mean a video doorbell of some description. So I think Owen's suggestion of with that part of money is just there to follow and we get the most appropriate solution through community safety team, the safer neighbourhood team and the police. I think it's the part of money that's going to make the difference.
There's an amended proposal with the 2000, sorry.
I just wanted to add, Chair, really, for that £2,000, we need to kind of have an idea of how many we're going to have, kind of a quantity, some kind of target that we're working to, surely. Because we could be getting 100 or we could be getting 10. We need to clearly know it's all right what the best model is or what the best thing is, but we also need to be conscientious about the cash we spend and look to what's a target number we're looking for, and can we keep it some kind of budget and things like that also.
Could we ask just for it to be monitored by housing and report back as appropriate?
Yes, certainly, Chair. So we haven't put an amount in because it depends on what sort that you apply in. But yeah, the plan would be, as you'll have a paper like this every time this committee sits, and that can give you what the outcomes are for all your funding. So where you've got a pot of money that people are chipping away at, you will absolutely get this is what we've spent so far, and these are the outcomes that we've got on all of the ones that you're choosing to fund.
Take it as an amended proposal, as Councillor Group said, that the money is there to be spent in the most appropriate way according to circumstance. Can I feel that over? Yeah. Seconded by Councillor Reid. You want to speak?
No, I was seconded.
Did you want to speak, David?
I was just going to say, taking the point that was just said, I don't think you can have a finite end to it, because what happens if we run out of money? Do we then say you next 20 people will have to wait till we get a budget next year, or we're going to come back and knock on the door again? Thank you.
How long's that piece of string, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the no speed camera. Sorry, I say anyone no speed cameras.
No comment. All right, we've got the amended proposal then that we agree the £2,000 as a best spend. All those in favour of? Anyone against that? So all in favour and one against. Thank you. That concludes the formal part of the meeting. Yeah. Thank you. If we haven't